Post Malone has just finished a show in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's 2017, and he's on the first stages of the Stony Tour, but he can already feel Los Angeles wearing on him. He walks off the stage and takes in the Utah countryside. This place seems much more his style. It's relaxing, there's nature everywhere, and you can open carry your firearm into a grocery store, if you want. You know, cowboy shit. Post has to leave. The Stony Tour goes to Portland in 2 days, but the city left such an impression on him that he decides to buy a house. $3 million, right outside of Salt Lake City. The perfect place to ride motorbikes and shoot guns. It'll be a while before Post is able to settle down though. In April of 2018, he drops Beer Bongs and Bentleys. This album sees Post's distaste with the entertainment industry starting to leak into his music. Rich and Sad and Zach and Codeine have Post discussing being unhappy despite his success. There's also the house break-in that inspired Paranoid. Post had only switched Los Angeles homes for a month when someone broke into his old house, thinking he was still there. Post was unharmed, but the event left an impression on him, and it almost certainly made him want to get out of LA even faster. While the lyrics in Beer Bongs and Bentleys were starting to push away from Hollywood, the music was still very much in line with contemporary music trends. There was the occasional outlier like The Acoustic Stay, but the majority was somewhere between pop and hip-hop. As soon as Post drops Beer Bongs and Bentleys, he embarks on the tour for the album. The first part covers the US and only lasts 2 months, but Post may find himself touring a little bit longer than planned. Despite being on tour, Post was still making new music. He worked exclusively with Louis Bell. The producer had been with him since his mixtape August 26th, and had been on every Post album since. While Louis Bell worked on all of Post's music, the two would also collaborate with other producers. One of these collaborations was with Carter Lang, a songwriter who had done a number of songs on SZA's Control. Working together, Louis Bell and Carter Lang made an instrumental with an 80s feel to it. They sent it to Post Malone, who loved it and recorded a song with Sway Lee. In October, Post went on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon to debut his new song. It was obvious from his appearance that he was trying to push away from the typical pop star. He wore a red suit embroidered with flowers, maybe referencing the title of his new track, Sunflower. If Post Malone was being worn down by touring in the entertainment industry, it didn't show on the song. The instrumental was sparse and upbeat. It's the kind of song you can't be sad after listening to. The song debuted at number 9 on Billboard and eventually rose to number 1, staying in the top 10 for an incredible amount of time. The song released while Post was on break from the Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour. He had spent August in Europe and decided to take it easy for the rest of the year, playing the occasional show here and there. Post took advantage of the downtime to record new music, and hoped to drop a project before the end of 2018. But by the time the year was coming to a close, all he was able to release was one song on December 24th. Wow. This single again never mentioned any of Post's struggles, and instead was a club banger with emphasis on the bass. It was a collaboration between Louis Bell and Frank Dukes, a producer who's worked with all kinds of artists from Taylor Swift to Travis Scott. While Post wasn't able to drop an album, this song served as the first single for his next one. The song debuted at 47 on Billboard and climbed all the way to number 2. It was one of the many songs blocked by Old Town Road. Post Malone jumped back on the Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour in February, and even if he could find the time to release a new song, it wouldn't make sense with Wow on top of the charts. It wasn't until March that Post released anything new, the music video for Wow. If anything, it showed just how busy Post was. It wasn't even a dedicated music video, just a collection of clips from Post on tour. The Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour had Post going all over the world, and it wasn't until May that he would be back in North America. This finally gave him some time to work on new music, and in July he dropped his second single, Goodbyes. Audiences were getting a better idea of what Post Malone's new album would be. The topic was darker, covering a failed relationship, and it brought in a feature from Young Thug, suggesting what features might appear on the album. Of course, Louis Bell was involved, and this time collaborated with Brian Lee, a pop songwriter working with a number of artists, including Fifth Harmony. The music video for Goodbyes dropped at the same time, featuring Post Malone dying and coming back to life to chase down his killer. If anything, Post now had the time to make a dedicated music video, and hopefully finish his album. It was only a month later at a performance in Cheyenne when Post announced his album was finished. He now had the time to fly to Europe and play the last leg of the Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour. It had taken over a year, but the Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour was finally over. Before leaving in the beginning of August, Post went on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon again to debut his third single. He again didn't look like a pop star, instead opting for a three-piece suit. His single, Circles, equally pushed away from pop music trends. Drum machines were replaced with live drums and guitars. The song sounded almost alternative or psych rock. Even though the song had a very different sound, it was another collaboration between Louis Bell and Frank Dukes, the same pair who had done Wow. With three very different singles, audiences weren't sure what to expect on September 6, 2019, when Post Malone dropped Hollywood's Bleeding. The first track went by the same name and explored what Post meant by the title. How Los Angeles is full of vampires, ready to suck you dry for their own gain. A number of songs covered similar topics: enemies and cutting off fake friends, I'm gonna be, and being yourself regardless of what others think. There was the occasional flex song like Saint Tropez, but they were few and far between. What this album did lyrically to push away from the entertainment industry, it matched with its music too. A number of the songs had heavy rock or alternative influences. There's the live drums in Circles and Myself, the guitar that follows Post's lyrics in I'm Gonna Be, and the heavy guitar solo in Take What You Want. The way some songs have snares that hit on 2 and 4, like Allergic and 1,000 Bad Times, gives them a funkier feeling than a typical pop song where the snare hits on 3. The majority of the features were hip-hop artists, although Post did his best to put them onto interesting instrumentals, like DaBaby on Enemies. And there were some more unexpected features, like Father John Misty's songwriting on Myself, and Ozzy Osbourne on Take What You Want. On this album, Post really tried to push away from Hollywood, making the music he felt like making, regardless of the genre it fell in. He finally moved into his Utah home, getting out of Los Angeles, and continues to wear suits, like his Beats One interview. He's even making his own wine, to match with his Crocs collaboration. Despite what Post has said about the entertainment industry, he still scheduled the tour for Hollywood's Bleeding to begin in September, right after the Beer Bongs and Bentleys tour ended, giving him almost no time between the two. While Post is done with the vampires in Hollywood, it seems he still cares about his fans. Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think of Post Malone and Hollywood's Bleeding. You can find Sound Selection on YouTube, as a podcast on iTunes, and on Instagram.